even though the name is China study. In the book Dr. Campbell published, it includes those hundreds and thousands of studies I mentioned before that support the concept, the biblical truths we talk about this morning today. Now I want to tell you a little bit about what we have been doing, what my wife Esther and I have been doing. In the last 30 years, we actually have used some of the approach recommended by these 4 scientists. Maybe I should tell you, these 4 scientists actually had discovered very similar type of recommendations for preventing and reversing killer diseases. From their own research, they had discovered the Bible truth. So their recommendation, there are 3 recommendations. Number 1, for people who had these killer diseases, is to reduce intake of animal products. For people who are very, very sick, as in the case of Dr. Esselstyn's patient, he actually used the word not reduce, but avoid, completely avoid intake of animal products. Number 2, greatly minimize fats and oils. That is refined oil. We all need oil, we notice that. But there's oil in every kind of food. Vegetables have oil, just enough for us. Number 3, adopt a least processed plant-based diet. So in the past 30 years, my wife and I have helped many people to reverse the killer diseases using the approach very similar to the 3 recommendations that promoted by these 4 medical scientists. Those follow these recommendations see marvelous result, excellent result. I just want to share with you the experience I have with one of the patients earlier in our practice. This patient is Bill. His name is Bill. Bill was a high school principal. At the age of 48, he had diabetes, high blood pressure, and 100 pounds overweight. He took several medicines. He suffered a lot of side effects to a point he could not even function very well in his job as a high school principal. His wife wanted him to come to see us, but Bill just continued to postpone his appointments. So when he finally came to see us, came to our office, I actually was a little bit reluctant to see him because I had this prejudice. Just one look at him, I didn't think Bill would want to make any changes. And you know, when I was in my early years, I'm quite prejudiced. Often will judge people by just one look. I learned not to do that anymore. At any rate, my wife Esther was talking to Bill on and on, on and on. I just her to keep it short so as not to waste time. But what surprised me was, as soon as Bill leaves our clinic, As soon as they leave our clinic, leave our office, he and his wife went right away to a grocery store, bypass the meat section, and move right on to a fresh produce and a health food section. They got all the healthy goodies filled out their car with. Then as soon as they got home, they emptied their kitchen cabinets, replaced with the healthy things they just purchased from the store. That surprised me. I didn't know that, but later on they told me about it. 2 months later, Bill returned to our office. He told us he no longer had diabetes, no longer had hypertension. He's off all medications. And I looked at him. He's quite alert, seemed to be quite happy. So the lesson, of course, I learned from Bill is never underestimate a person's ability to change lifestyle. All right? Even though I look at you, I had a prejudice, again, preconceived idea. I said, that person will never want to change. That person probably won't change either. But forgive me, I do not want to have this kind of prejudice anymore. Today, 25 years later, in fact, I just got an email from Bill a month ago. 25 years later, Bill is trim. The 100 pounds apparently is gone. Bill is healthy and happy. How do I know he's happy? The wife said. The wife told me, you don't know how much you're down for my marriage. 20 years ago, Bill is a person you don't want to live with him. But today, I will have no hesitation to love him, to remarry him, and to live with him forever. I want to tell you a little bit about experience in China. In the past 6 years, my wife and I have spent a good portion of our time in China to train health professionals, medical professionals, and to help them to live, or rather, to train them to know how to use God's natural remedy. Actually, the program we are teaching is often referred to as a New Start program. Nutrition, exercise, the use of water, sunlight, temperance, fresh air, rest, and trust in God. So we taught quite a number of patients, number of doctors and healthcare professionals in this. Now let me give you some background. 30 years ago, China actually was one of the healthiest countries in the world. Did you know that? 30 years ago, China was a very healthy country in the world. But today, China has multiple health crises. Just give you an example. When I first visited China in the early 1980s, there were 3 diabetes in the population, or per population of 10,000. So 3 per 10,000, very little. Today, there are 900 diabetes per 10,000 population. Young people here, you can do a math for me. This is how many fold increase? 300 folds, right? 900 versus 3. 300-fold increase. Cardiovascular diseases, meaning heart attacks and strokes, also take a heavy toll among Chinese. And today, in the last few years, statistics show that each year, 7.5 million Chinese died of heart attacks and strokes. Of course, China is a big country, but 7.5 million Chinese died of a heart attack and strokes. And you might ask, this, incidentally, this is a tenfold, this is 90-fold increase compared with what happened in 1980. So cardiovascular disease has increased 90-fold in less than 30 years. What is the cause of these increases? The answer is adoption of the Western diet. Adoption of the Western diet. When we first visited China in the 80s,